57% of it to Leeds' 43. But look at that XG for the home side, 2.96. And more touches in the opposition box. And more importantly, if you're a Leeds fan, it's Leeds 3, Hull City 1. Which sparks these types of scenes come the final whistle. Summerville, the architect of the win, Ruter playing his part. Daniel James, of course, scoring from just inside the Hull City half. And Daniel Farke taking the acclaim of another packed-out, fervent crowd at Ellen Road. Thankfully, we've got Joby McAnuff and Robert here to give us some sense of perspective, make some sense of the madness that we've seen at Ellen Road. Those great scenes at the end, Joby, where you see Daniel Farke applauding the crowd applauding him back. The synergy there is really palpable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And listen, their home record this season's been absolutely incredible. And, you know, you feel that, you know, when you go into somewhere like Ellen Road and the mood that it's in at the moment, and it only takes just something to just spark it off and really kick it into gear. And we saw that, you know, tonight, right at the end of the game, yes. But again, for me, that energy around the place, that belief that just builds and builds and builds when you get these results and really get them when you probably don't deserve to, even more so. The Leicester game was similar, you know, weren't fantastic on the night, but find a way to win that game of football. And it's just an incredible place to be when it is going like that, you know.
Is that the key thing then, Robert? It's players, key players, doing what they need to do at the right time. Case in point, Crysencio Summerville winning the penalty that ends up being the second goal of the game. And the way that he consistently drives, consistently tries to make things happen and wing it yourself. Is it a case of feeding in the ball in these situations and trusting him to make things like this happen?
But that's what happens when they're confident. That's the biggest things for me, is when, you know, when you're a midfielder just as such, or a centre-back, you want to try and pass the ball early to these lads to go 1v1 when they can go right or go left or get a shot away. Everything always positive, and they have got players in the final third in these top sort of free positions that can cause teams problems. But you see here, he just steps in and he just goes, no, I've got, that's because he's confident. And he says it in his interview, he says, you know, I felt good in the match. So he's thinking to himself, no, give me it, trust me. And
that's exactly he's not even really saying, give me it, is he saying, it's mine, I'm taking this?
Yeah, well, I think Piero there's saying, you know, I'm the designated penalty taker. Him and Bamford had a little bit. Bamford passing the ball this season, and then he's obviously stepped in, so a little bit of dispute. But listen, I'm fine with that. When, you know, you're confident and you're going, as I say, like this, you need to score though, and that's exactly what he's done.
I suppose the key thing as well with that, Joby, to give some sense of balance and a bit of perspective, given what that potentially could do to team spirit, because it's one player pulling rank on another player that's come on as a substitute. But do you give credit to Joel Pirro for saying, I'm not going to make a fuss, I might be very, very annoyed with this, but I'm not going to kick up a stink about it?
Yeah, because we've seen situations where that situation sort of rumbles on a little bit too long, and have a 20, 30 seconds, and then that pressure really does ramp up, particularly with everything that's going on. So, yeah, credit to him for stepping away from it at that time. And listen, Summerville's the man who's in form. He's the one who's taking this team on at the moment. The goal he scored the other night as well, fantastic. He's got that confidence running through his body. So much so that he says, look, this is me. I'm going to take I'm going to take this penalty kick and I'm going to get us this win.
Will that get discussed post-match back in the dressing room, do you think?
Well, probably not now that he's stuck it away. Listen, we saw Daniel Farke, and this is where management and man management comes into it at this stage of the season. You want to keep everybody on board, and I think that little conversation that he had with Peru after the game, just to sort of just say to him, look, you know, we've scored the goal. I know it's probably your penalty to take, but he's stepped up. I'm sure he's going to contribute between now and the end of the season.
And a screamer to seal the deal, in the words of Crysencio Summerville, Dan James from distance. Now, disappointment for the international side, of course, with regards to Wales's playoff hopes for the Euros, but made no mistake here, Rob. I mean, just how hard is what he does from here on in?
Yeah, I think it's Piero here. It's just a little, it's a great pass, just sends him on his way with his pace, and it's a great finish. After the week he's had, you know, international duty, coming back, and you know, sometimes those international games are great, sometimes it's very difficult. You know, and he was on a disappointing penalty miss, but you know, that's a terrific finish, and I'm delighted for him. But it's great, as you said, wingers again are, you know, in confidence, and you know, Dan James has, you know, come up with over double figures this season, and you know, he's confident as well.
Look, that's a fantastic finish. One thing I love about Dan James, even at the start of the season, things weren't quite clicking. He never hides props. You know, again, that massive disappointment. He's just missed a penalty. You know, the team aren't now going to the Euros, but every single week he steps up and he wants to contribute to the team, and really pleased to see him stick that one away after what's happened recently.
He also mentioned as well, didn't he, about coming back into the fold and making sure that club environment helped him through it. Let's go all the way back to the start of the game. It was Sam Byram that got things up and running for Leeds United. And a slightly odd celebration, Joby, in the sense of, maybe it's because it's the second goal of the season, but looking around almost asking for it to be disallowed, but it's a very serviceable header at the back post after an untracked run.
Yeah, it was a really good header. I mean, his reaction made us maybe question whether it came off something else, but it was a clear header. Again, Summerville going down the outside. You have to do that when you're a winger playing on, the opposite side, really. That's something you have to give defenders, an issue with, and he's done that on 2 occasions today and created 2 goals. Brilliant feat from Ruter, who I don't think quite is 100%, had an operation, albeit minor, but only, 9-10 days ago. So for him to come round and get himself through a couple of games as well and contribute, fantastic. This is a touch that really confirms it was off his, I want to say head, maybe his nose. Yeah. But yeah, obviously absolutely nothing wrong with the goal, and a good start for Leeds.
Good start. The way back, of course, Hull City showing what they are really capable of in instances in a game where they truly do believe that they've got the ability to carve open the opposition. Once again, very good wide play and very good forward play from Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah, the little lad Morton just anticipates, and his endeavour just carries him through into the box. It's a great run, but it's that little movement across the front post, and it's a great finish with the outside his right boot. But listen, Hull were in the game. Hull had great moments in the game, and this was just one of the chances. But it was great midfield play and great movement that gets the goal.
So from the point of view of Carvalho, maybe filling that number 9 role that seems to be a problem for Hull City?
Yeah, listen, what he has got is brilliant movement, technically incredibly gifted, and this is a great example of that anticipation in terms of understanding where that cross is going to come in. I think maybe that was the only criticism. I thought they played really, really well tonight, Hull, and maybe just that little bit of cutting edge, in that final third, creating clear cut opportunities would be the bit that Liam looks at and is slightly disappointed with, because overall, they were fantastic tonight.
Succinctly put, but that is only the tip of the iceberg.
Liam, how tough was that to take?
The result, yeah, result's tough to take. Had a group of players who gave the shirt everything tonight. To come here, to take on a team, going man to man, create really good moments in the game. And it kind of sums up what's, not hopefully for the rest of the season, but sums up a lot of our season in that we get ourselves into really good positions in games and we don't manage to see it through. We don't manage to take that chance that we need to take in big games. And then, it's kind of reflective of our season a little bit, and in positive ways as well. I'm so proud of them. For that group of players to take the ball the way they did. We're trying to build something long term in terms of our style of play. To go man to man all over the pitch with no cover away from home, which they've done so many times. There's a lot of really, really positive aspects. And if we keep that level of performance, who knows? Who knows? I still believe, and that group of players have given me, not the result, but in terms of the performance, their application, the desire to run for each other, more belief after that game.
So what did you say to them over the weekend to get that performance, to get that shift, for them to put all that energy into it?
I told them what I think of them. There were some harsh words after the game, but every single time, I said it to you before the game, every time we've had a setback, we bounce back. We didn't get the result that we wanted, but in terms of the performance, in terms of what we stand for as a club now, that was really, really some excellent moments, and we need to keep that level of performance.
You've picked up a couple of injuries, though, haven't you? What's the impact on those players and for your season too? Yeah,
obviously, I think Coyley was magnificent. He played in as a makeshift centre-back, natural right-back. I felt he did his job really, really well. It was a blow to have him off. Cyrus came on, did well. Obviously, Gilo was onto a good game and came off. And when you have to make enforced changes to your back four, it's always difficult. Look, these things happen. But overall, a lot of positives to take. And if we keep that level of performance and desire and belief, we still can be in for a really good end to the season.
It's still achievable as well, isn't it, to what you're trying to achieve? Had you have got the point, what impact would that have made? Would it have defined your season at all?
No, the performance defined. For me, I know the fans, we want to win. We come here to win. The only way you win in football over the long term or consistently is to have consistent performances. So much good. I think every single person in the stadium who watched at home could see what we're about. And that's really, really important. But we have to do it on Saturday. And we have to keep that level of performance going.
You go again. Good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
So unhappy with the result, but happy with what the players put into the shirts. Now, this is how it pans out right now. Both my guests are leaning in to try and work out the maths of this particular situation. Norwich lost, Coventry lost, Preston lost, Borough won, Hull City lost. So it's 5 teams squeezing into one spot. Running-wise, they play teams from across the Championship. Different motivations for teams that, of course, need to get safe, other teams that maybe have outside chances of gate crashing the top 6, and of course teams are right at the very top. It would be mean to ask you both how this does pan out, but what you've seen from this weekend, how does it pan out, Rob? Who does get that final position?
I think the final position for me is Norwich. Norwich for me is, over the last sort of 2-3 months, they've really got to grips with personnel, got a settled squad, lads have been doing really well, so for me I'm going to go Norwich.
I can't disagree with that.
Still writing down there,
No,
okay.
I'm writing down. But I look at Coventry's run. You know, Leeds, Southampton to come next. They still got to play Ipswich as well. I think that's a difficult run of games. Hull, you know, for me, looking at them, just gone off the boil at the wrong time. Overall, decent performance, but they've got to take those opportunities when they come. Again, for me, I have to go with Norwich, and I think they've just generally been in really good form. A little bit disappointed with them earlier today from what I see, but I definitely feel they've got enough to cement that last place.
Both guests sticking the neck out and picking the team that's already in the box seat in the Championship. However, for Leeds United, it's second spot for them after a blistering Easter weekend. Let's get the thoughts of Daniel Farke with Juliet Farrington.
Daniel, just how big were those 3 points tonight?
Yeah, it's important. So especially at this stage of the season, 3 points are always priceless. Due to the schedule that we have for many of my lads, it was the third game within 6 days because most of them played even on Tuesday or even Wednesday, like Junior Firpo the other night for their national teams. And in this moment, you have to be pragmatical and you have to dig in and grind out results. That's what we did today against a really good Hull side, and I'm pleased with. Especially with the result, I'm pleased with our second half and also that we didn't lose the nerve after a bit tricky first half. Hull is a good possession side, and if you go into their traps and open spaces where you don't want them to have, then you can concede against them, and you have to be patient. And this is what we did, and in the end, yes, also a well-deserved win, but in a tight game, and I'm happy.
You talk about it being tricky. They really imposed themselves on you, didn't they? And there were quite nervous moments at times throughout that match.
Well, we started really well, went in lead and had the big chance also to score the second with Patrick Bamford. And you have to be effective against this brave side. There are many footballers who want to have the ball, and Liam Lucina is doing a really good job. They always try to overload the center. You just can cope with it if you are willing to sacrifice both center backs to send them forward. And then if you do this, they use their pace and their individual quality over the wings by attacking the space and behind. This is, you just have to have a look against how they played against the top sides. They always digged in, and where there was a draw or even with a win, we didn't want to go into this trap. We allowed them to have a bit more possession today, but in areas where it didn't hurt us that much. Our problem in the first half was that we were a bit poor in possession and gave then the ball a bit too early away. It was a bit a devil's circle. You're just shifting after the ball, then you win the ball, you give it away, then you have to shift again, and sometimes it kills the nerves. But we had to stay on it, had to improve a bit our success rate and duels in the second half, also to be better in position. This is what we did, and this is also why we turned this game, or why we won this game in the end.
Did you feel at the time when Patrick missed that opportunity that it gave Hull City confidence?
Yes, had nothing to lose today. They said after last lost in the home game, they want to show reaction, and they have many brave players who can rise on such a challenge and wanted to impress and want to use this challenge. And yes, obviously when the opponent misses the chance to close the game, then yes, okay, they smell okay, there is something in it, and this is how they acted. So I think they played really well. I'm glad that we didn't lose the nerves and found an answer in order to play pragmatic today and grind out the result.
I know you did get the penalty late on to put yourself in the lead, but what a moment for Dan James. What a moment that was for you.
Yes, obviously it's important in the last minutes. We had so many problems before the game, many players out. Also, for example, Glenn Kamara played today, although he had a cold, and even think even a bit temperature in the morning, but we're a bit thin in the central midfielders at the moment. Also, Sam Byram told me at halftime, boss, I can't sprint anymore. Yeah, but we just had this on the fullback position, Jamie Shackleton, who is also coming out of injury and hasn't played since ages. And so I told him, okay, it has to be enough with 80% today. So we had many problems today. And then it's important also in the final minutes to dig in to make sure that you don't have unnecessary loss of the ball, to defend all the long balls. And if there's a chance to close the game, then you have to be clinical with Joel Pirot's good pass and then a top-class finish of Daniel James. I'm happy that we're able to celebrate the third goal. Otherwise, it would be a long last minute. That's definitely for sure.
I know it's been a crazy day in the Championship. I know you're back up into the automatic promotion places. You're just staying in your own lane, yeah?
Yeah, so during this busy schedule, you just have to concentrate on yourself and to bring you in the best possible position. And we just can take care for our results, for our performances. I'm pretty pleased that in this difficult game we were able to win the maximum of points, 3 points. And with this, right now we recover the next 1 or 2 days and then we keep going.
It's been a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Cheers, Daniel.
Is that really how simple it is then, Robert Snodgrass? Just keep going. He's got a special bond with his players. He's ringing every single drop of what they've got out of them. And it is literally just the next game, just the next game. Is that what gets you over the line?
Especially at this time of the season, I don't think you can look too far and try and take your eye off the ball. And they've done a great job up until this moment. The fortress at Ellen Road has been, clear to see. The connection with these players is clear to see. You've got lads with confidence in the final third. They're quite a solid unit, and he said about lads coming back from injury. Quite a close-knit bunch, and I just feel they've got momentum for the running.
Squad depth as well does really, really help, Leeds, doesn't it?
It does, and I think you've seen that over these 2 games where they have been stretched. No Nonto, Gruev. They were 2 absolutely key players of recent weeks in terms of how good a run that they've been on. Had to reshuffle that back line a little bit, which again has been disruptive. And I just feel they've got that quality to come in to those positions and not have a big drop-off, really. And I think that's what's helped to just maintain. And listen, they've got some real outstanding players in forward areas, which obviously helps when you need a moment of magic like we saw tonight.
It was a win. It's a win that took them second, though, because there was real late drama at Portman Road from our tea time.
What's it like to score such a late winner in such a big game?
It's honestly a crazy feeling. At the start of the game, I got told I wasn't starting, so I was a bit, in my head, I was a bit upset, but I always knew like these type of games coming on late, as a late sub, there's always going to be chances, and I was ready for that moment.
Wow, incredible. Your subs yet again. How have you done that today?
Yeah, it's incredible effort, I have to say, against a really, really good team. But so proud of how the boys went about it. It's not easy to play against a Southampton team who are very, very good players, very good patterns. But to play them in a brave manner and try and go toe to toe with a squad like theirs. But that's what the players did. They kept the belief from when of course getting a good start, 1-0 up, but then conceding 2 quick fire goals. We just never took a backward step, and we kept going. We kept trying to press, kept trying to score, and players got full rewards in the end.
I think we were the best team. I think we played some incredible stuff. We scored 2 amazing goals, and then we should put the game to bed. We have 2 brilliant chances, we don't score. They had 3 moments in the game and scored 2. They hit the post, the other one. At that point, we'd limited them so little, we'd quietened the atmosphere down. Honestly, I was so proud of the performance and the players on the whole. And then Breezy gets sent off. I think Taylor Howard-Bellis is probably getting across, so I'm not convinced by it, but I don't know. I've only seen it once, so people have a better take on that than me. And then, even with 10 men, I thought we had such a brilliant chance with Brooksy. The lads still went for it. We chose to still attack the game, and because the point is not overly helpful to us at this point. We need to win.
You're top of the league with the games running out. Is this really happening?
I don't know what's happening in terms of anything past the next game. Honestly, we can't afford. We don't have the energy to pause and stop. You can see how much effort it's given. The boys are, I know everybody says it, but that group are giving every single drop of themselves out there on the pitch, and to spend any energy thinking about anything else, we wouldn't have what we're going to need to go away to Carroll Road on Saturday.
And off the pitch, your director of football, Jason Wilcox, could be leaving you. The Southampton are unhappy with the way that Manchester United are pursuing him. There are reports that he's resigned from his role at Southampton now. What can you tell us?
Well, I've been hearing he's going to leave for 6 weeks in the media. Nothing's changed. I spoke to Jason this morning. we've had a game. I'm here to talk about the game, not about Jason. So I'm sure at some point, the club will be able to tell you, or I'll be able to tell you what's going on. But right now, I've just lost 3-2 in a game where we were fantastic, and I don't really want to be talking about it.
Yeah, how unhelpful is the timing of this to be talking about this at this stage of the season?
I'm here to talk about the game. I don't want to talk about Jason's been great for us. If he leaves, he leaves. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, let me be annoyed about the result for a bit first. Cheers.
Thank you, Russell.
Well, that's the story that'll keep going and going with regards to Jason Wilcox, wasn't it? Southampton disappointed. Leicester happy, though, as they ran out 3-1 winners against Norwich. It was Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall that got them back on level terms after going a goal down. Stefan Mavididi then showed a real touch of class to roll this one into the bottom corner of the Canaries' net. Before who else but Jamie Vardy climbing off the bench, scoring his 9th goal in his last 11 appearances for the Foxes to seal all 3 points. And at the time, it put them top of the league. However, of course, it didn't turn out like that come the end of the day. So this is how we look at the very top of the Championship. It feels like that result for Southampton possibly rules them out of gate crashing the top 2, chaps. But given as it is now, as I asked you a minute ago about the playoff places, what does that look like when the final ball's kicked in, man?
Oh, crazy. Listen, I think Southampton, you're right. We spoke about this weekend when we started it. It can make or break your season, really, and I think it's broken Southampton's chance of getting in that top 2. Absolutely 1 point. The big winners got to be Ipswich, the way they won today. Again, I just have to go with a feeling. I think Leicester getting that result is absolutely massive for them, just getting a little bit of momentum between now and the end of the season. But for me, there just seems to be a real feeling. You look at that points, 88. I think I won a league with 89. So you're going to potentially have 3 clubs break that, and one's not going to get in the top 2, which is absolutely incredible.
What could be key, of course, Robert, is that game in hand that Leicester City do have.
Yeah, I think looking at the, you're going to give me a stick again, but the Ipswich and Leeds, the momentum with those 2 sides. We speak about squad depth, we speak about character. It was a big result for Leicester. I just feel at this moment in time, the momentum has been with Ipswich. They've won 9 in the last 10. Obviously, Leeds are flying. Leicester have had that little stop-start. So I just feel, for me, I'm going to go for Ipswich and Leeds. Sorry, Ipswich and Leeds.
Going for Ipswich, Leeds, and
I want Leeds' run. Perhaps I've got to say, looking at that as a group, and you never want to look too far ahead, especially at this stage of the season. I think Leicester got that tough little run, West Brom, Southampton and Preston in a block of 3 games, which is going to be difficult for them. So I think in terms of, if you're asking me if I was a manager what run I would want, definitely Leeds.
Gents, absolutely superb company. I've enjoyed every single minute of it, and I'm sure you'll agree, the wonderful guests here on
احسن من التايه زي حالتنا، غير انه يمشي لقدام. مفيش وصفه للتايه غير انه يمشي لقدام. خلاص. منظر امبارح ومنظر ليفربول، مباراه ليفربول، ومنظر الخساره من نيوكاسل، وتعثرات كثيره في هذا الموسم بتطرح سؤال، ويمكن السؤال ده اتكلمته قبل كده، ان بوتشينيو قد يكون مش هو مدرب تشيلسي لهذه الفترة، ولكنه على الأقل بيفرش للمدرب اللي بعده، يعني هيسيب حاجة للمدرب اللي بعده. ده ما كنت أقوله مثلا في الشهور اللي فاتت أو حتى في فترة تعيين. ولكن باللي بيحصل دلوقتي احنا هنجيب مدرب يبتدي من الصفر. بل أزيدك من الشعر بيت، هو هيبتدي من تحت الصفر. لان حجم الدمار الفني والنفسي اللي حصل للعيبه الضرر كبير. فانت هتجيب مدرب حرفيا بقى هتصبر عليه علشان يعيد صياغه الامور من الاول. طبعا انتوا شفتوا الصور المنتشره للعيبه بتاعتنا في الجيم وهي تعيسه، وشفتوا امبارح التصريحات بتاعت الناس بتحاول تمثل قدام الكاميرا لكن في تشيلسي هم حزانه. شفتوا صوره انزو وهو زعلان، وبالمر وهو قاعد لوحده، ومدرك اللي مش داخل في الفرقه، وكايسيدو اللي مش مستحمل الضغط، والوضع فوضوي بشكل كبير جدا في تشيلسي. شفتوا اكيد كل الكلام ده، وده نتيجه طبيعيه لمدرب مش حاسس بالوضع. يعني يطلع في مباراه زي بتاعه ميدلسبرا يقول لك اصل كايسيدو قال لي عادي بنخسر من ميدلسبرا ايام ما كنا في برايتون، واتضح طبعا ان الكلام ده كذب. المدير الفني بتاعك بيكذب. امبارح بيقول لك عانينا منذ استقبال الهدف الاول. عانيت ايه يا معلم؟ عانيت ايه يا معلم؟ ده انت اللي مسجل الهدف الاول. فيعني الراجل مش معانا موظف، ولاعبين موظفين عقود ب8 و9 سنين بيقبضوا، ولن يعاني ولن يشتكي ولن يشيل الهم والطين والضغط العالي زي اللي جالي كده غير مشجع تشيلسي. الحل يا جماعه، يعني هذا الفيديو مش عايز اطول وقته. الحل يا جماعه مش في اقاله بوتشينيو، ويمكن الكلام ده اتكلمناه اكتر من مره. احنا كجمهور امبارح هنقعد نرفص ونقول بوتش اوت وطلع البوتش ومشي لي البوتش. انا عايز حل دلوقتي. بس لو بتتكلم في مشروع وعايز رؤية وعايز حل وعايز ان في حاجة تحصل لتشيلسي حتى تستعيد مكانة تشيلسي براموفيتش. وليه بقول كده؟ لان انا البوصلة بتاعتي الجمهور الانجليزي اللي كان حاضر في البريدج امبارح، لما الاقي قطاع بيذكر اسم براموفيتش وبيهتف بيه، ولاقي قطاع بيرد على جمهور الولفز بيقولوا لهم يور تيم از يعني فرقتكم وحشه، فجمهور تشيلسي يردد فرقتنا وحشه. يعني نقف بقى، لان هنا في خطوره. لما انا جمهوري يزوم على اللعيبه ويقول لهم ما تجوش تحيونا بعد المباراه، وانا جمهوري يهتف باداره قديمه، وانا جمهوري يقول للفرقه انتوا كذا، يبقى احنا في حاجه لم نعهدها من 22 23 سنه. الوضع فوضوي في تشيلسي. ده بقى المؤشر بتاعي، ده بقى الدايركشن بتاعي، ده بقى بيقول لك النادي رايح فين. الموضوع مش ان انا وانت هنختلف اصل انزو لاعب حلو، لا انزو منفوخ، كايسيدو صفقه حلوه، لا كايسيدو صفقه وحشه. لا، احنا دخلنا في حاجه اعمق، ودخلنا في داون جريدنج للفرقه نفسها، اللي هو في الاخر محصلتها انا وانت مش هنكون مبسوطين. طيب، باللي حصل امبارح انا عايز اتكلم في شقين، يعني في ناحيتين. هل الاداره بتاعتنا مش ذكيه؟ وخلينا احتفظ باللباقه شويه لان امبارح انفعلت بما فيه الكفايه. هل الاداره بتاعتنا مش ذكيه وهي اللي بتتخذ كل القرارات اللي بتظهر هذا الفريق بهذا الشكل الفوضوي؟ ده السؤال الاول. السؤال الثاني، هل الاداره بتاعتنا بتتصرف صح وتركت الامر لناس مش عارفه تدير الموضوع؟ وبالتالي انفي عنها تهمه السؤال الاول ان هي مش ذكيه، وان هي لا ذكيه وبتتصرف صح، ولكن هناك او الشخص اللي تم الوثوق به لفعل هذه المهمه غير جدير بالثقه. وهنا بتكلم صراحه عن بول ويل ستانلي ولورنس ستيوارت، اللي لحد دلوقتي عندي علامه استفهام كبيره. ليه كريستيان فيفل مشي من النادي بدون اعلان اي اسباب او رحيله بشكل مفاجئ في فتره زمنيه قصيره، ولحد علمي لحد دلوقتي ما شفتهوش ماسك نادي كبير او اشتغل في شغلانه تاني؟ هل التدخل بتاع الاثنين السكاوترز دول هو اللي مدمر الدنيا؟ ولذلك عزيزي المشاهد، الحل مش في اقاله بوتشينيو، لان انا هيبقى عندي حلين. يا اما انا ادارتي اصلا غبيه من بابها، من اول كابيتال كلارك باقبالي بتود بويلي، ومش عارفين يديروا نادي كوره، ودي تبقى مصيبه سودة، لان انا مش عارف اخلص ازاي من الملاك. لسه دافعين 4 مليار غير الصفقات، انا مش عارف اخلص منهم ازاي، لانه كده يبقوا داخلين في غسيل اموال بس مش اكتر، ودي تبقى مصيبه، يبقى النادي اتقفل خلاص. يعني دايما هروح ابقى اوبتيمستيك وهقول ان مش ده السبب، وهقول ان هم لا، الناس عايزه تنجح زي ما نجحت في امريكا، والناس دي بتاعت اصول ماليه وبيظبطوا الدنيا صح وماشيين بنهج صحيح، بس عينوا اشخاص خطأ لاداره هذه المواهب وإدارة هذا المشروع وإدارة هذا النادي العريق الكبير. طيب هيبقى ايه بقى الوضع عندي، او ايه الوضع بالنسبة لي لما تقول إقالة بوتيتشينيو؟ هي مش إقالة بوتيتشينيو، هي زي ما أنا كاتب لك كده في عنوان الفيديو، هي إقالة ثلاثية. وانت بتمشي بوتيتشينيو لابد وعشان نقول بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هنبتدي المشروع، وكأن سنة ونص راحوا في طيس، لازم تقيل لورنس وبول ويلستانلي، لأن هذان الشخصان هما اللذان أصر على تعيين بوتيتشينيو من ضمن 50,000 سي في لمديرين فنيين تاني، بما فيهم نايجل زمان وإنريكي اللي جم بمشاريع وتم رفضهم. اربط دي برحيل كريستيان فيفل والتدخل بتاعهم في كل حاجة، اربط دي مع ضعفهم في إنهاء الصفقات القوية، وإن لازم إقبالي يتدخل عشان يخلص الصفقات زي ما حصل في كايسيدو وإنزو فرنانديز. تعرف إن إحنا بيتم إدارتنا من 2، مش هقول مديرين رياضيين، ولكن هم يعني مديرين رياضيين ضعاف جدا ما يناسبوش كريستال بالاس حتى. لأنك لو استمريت بنفس السيستم يا هتجيب مدرب افريج، هتلاقي نفسك طالع من جرهام بوتر على بوتيتشينيو، او والله نروح نجرب مدرب سبورتنج لشبونه، نجيب مدرب جيرونا، نجيب مدرب برينتفورد. هتروح في الرينج ده، لان اخر المديرين الرياضيين بتوعك الرينج ده. يوم ما تقول انا عايز حد هيتكلم ويخليهم قراطيس، لا مش معلش يا معلم مش هنجيبك. احنا هنقعد نجرب وتراي اند ايرور لحد ما نشوف مين اللي ينجح مع تشيلسي، لكن احنا مش هنجيب واحد بالاول ضمانات او نقط نجاحه اكتر من نقط فشله. مش هروح اجيب زيدان، مش هروح اجيب سيميوني، مش هروح اجيب اي مدرب نخبه. يعني حتى سيميوني واخد شويه بطولات ولعب نهائي دوري ابطال، يمشي. زيدان صعب يجي انجلترا. فليك ناس هتقول لك وناس هتقول لك لا. الونسو اللي عنده 0 بطولات حاليا اكبر من تشيلسي. ليه؟ لان الران بتاعته مثلا في ليفركوزن صعب جدا يسيبها ويجي لك يضبش في العمل اللي انت فيه. وانا شايف ان الونسو اكبر لايق على ريال مدريد او ليفربول. النقطه الاهم عشان نرجع للشنط او للهتاف العدائي اللي كان في الاستاد على الاداره، يجب ان الاداره تعي ان مش اي مدرب ينفع لتشيلسي. انا طول عمري يا معلم قوي دفاعيا، بلعب لعب مباشر، تيكي تاكا وبيلد اب وجع قلب، انا ماليش فيه. انا طول عمري بتاع لعب مباشر. انا اقرب مني للكره الكلاسيكيه الانجليزيه عن كره المساحات وكره التيكي تاكا بتاعت كرويف وبتاعت بيب جوارديولا وبتاعت ميكا.